Hello, my name is Lynsey and welcome to your 45 minutes Pilates class. So for the class, I would recommend that you're in loose fitting clothes, something that you feel comfortable to move in, that you have a mat, you have a bit of space around your mat, and that you also have access to some water. Okay, so we're going to get started. Remember, listen to your body. If you've never done Pilates before, be really mindful about how you feel. And if anything feels too much or it's painful or uncomfortable, go back a few steps. And if you need to stretch at any point or just rest, please come into a child's pose or just lie down, whatever feels right. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to start today's practice with us being on the mat. So just take your time, come down onto the mat, lie on your backs. Don't worry about how you get down. And then I just want you to open, allow the legs to open up so the feet fall wide. And I just want you to place your hands by your side and just give yourself a second just to sort of settle onto your mat. From here, I want you to place your hands onto your rib cage. And I just want you to take some nice, big, deep breaths. So you're going to fill your rib cage, breathing in through the nose. And then exhale and feel the rib cage settle back into the body. So we're trying to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. So everybody's breathing rate is different, but try as we start to move to really focus on maintaining the equal breath in and an equal breath out. And if it becomes too much to think about, and sometimes it is, then please just continue to breathe all the way through. So don't hold your breath if you can help it, okay? So always just try to remember to breathe. So after a few more breaths, again, just paying attention to the expansion of the rib cage, breathing into the back of the body, feeling the tummy rise, and then breathing out nice and slowly through the mouth. We're then just going to place the hands back by our sides. I want you to just make sure that your shoulders are away from the ears, that you've got that length in the spine, that your neck feels nice and comfortable. And all we're going to do from here is we're just going to slide the feet up towards the bottom. So they're about hip distance apart. And then I want you to just have a little quick check of your lower back. So for me, I'm now in a sort of a neutral spine, so I feel that my back isn't hugely off the floor, but neither is it pressed into the mat either. So when you push the back into the mat, or when you allow the back to fall onto the mat, we call that an imprint. But we want to make sure that we're sort of in between both of those extremes. So there I've tilted my pelvis, my back, there's a huge gap in between my back, I could get my arm under. What I'm trying to do is find that neutral spine for me. A good way of doing that is to place the sort of fleshy part of your outer hand, so this part of your hand, onto either of your hips, and make sort of that shape like a diamond shape with the your thumb and the next finger. And then if you just rock your pelvis forwards and backwards, you're aiming to get that shape flat, okay? So when you feel it's flat, that's you pretty much at your neutral spine. Everybody's is different. So just give yourself a second to feel what your neutral spine is and what it should be. And as we start to move, we're going to try and maintain that neutral spine through all of our movements. But there might be the odd occasion, or especially if you're quite new to Pilates, where you might feel more comfortable with a slight imprint of the back, again, just to keep yourself nice and safe. So from here, we're in that neutral spine, arms are by our side. We're just going to come up into a shoulder bridge, which will just help us mobilize before we start. So this is a really great exercise. You're going to inhale on your exhale. You're going to push into the feet. You're going to move the knees forward and lift the hips equally up. So don't worry about how high you go on this. It's about the control of the movement. What you want to really focus on again is that we've got those hip height level. So if you imagine you have a spirit level across the hip bones, the bubble showing that your level would be perfectly in the middle, so just underneath your belly button. And again, we want to try and make sure that as we start to move and add levers, that we're not dropping the hips down. So from here, we're in this nice strong shoulder bridge. My hands are on the floor, I'm lengthened through the spine still, knees tracking forward. We're just going to hold this, so just get used to this posture. You should feel the back of the glutes fire up, so a bit of strength, a bit of heat coming into the back of the body. You can close your eyes down. Again, think of protecting the neck, so slightly dip the chin in this posture, keeping the hips level, and as you tire, you'll start to drop into the hips, you'll start to lower like that, but we're going to really try and focus on our breath, breathing in and breathing out, drawing the navel to spine to make that really strong platform to maintain this posture and position. We're going to do another 10 seconds. Remember to breathe nice and equally in and out. And then when you're ready, we're going to drop first into the chest. So your hips will automatically want to drop down first, but we're really going to focus on allowing the upper part of our body to find the mat first. So upper back, mid, and then finally your lower back, and then into the pelvis. And then before we add on a little bit more of a challenge to that move, we're just going to rock the pelvis backwards and forwards. Again, just moving through that imprint and through that tilt. Again, just to release any tension in your lower back. So this time, when we do that, we're going to again extend the arms by the sides, making sure that the neck feels nice and safe. Inhale, exhale, we're pushing up, knees forward, hips level. We're going to try not to flare the rib cage, and what I mean by that is that. So that's me flaring my rib cage, or I can get my fingers underneath. You're going to try and keep the rib cage in the body. We're extending the arms. And on your next exhale, you're going to bring one leg into a tabletop posture. So remember, your tabletop, your knees directly over the hip, that front leg, or your shin is parallel to the floor. And all we're going to do from there is we're going to drop down, toe tap for 6, 5, 4. So notice I'm not bending anymore through the knee. This movement is coming from my hip. Last 2, I'm a terrible counter. Last 1, we're bringing it back to tabletop. We're going to lower that leg down. If you need to lower yourself down to have a stretch, please do. Otherwise, if you feel strong, we're going to go straight onto the other side. So again, tabletop, knee over hip, shin parallel to the floor, point the toe, and we just drop the toe down to lift for 6, 5. So there's no movement from the hips. We're keeping that nice and strong posture. I think this is my last one. And then when you're ready, you're going to lower that leg down, and we're going to drop again through the chest, lowering ourselves with control all the way down to the mat. Quick release of the lower back, so we're going to take the arms nice and wide, and we're just going to allow the knees to fall to one side. Feeling that lovely rotation, opening up through the back. And again, just take the knees across to the other side. And if you're like me, I don't know if you heard that, my back always cracks when I do this. We're just going to do a couple more. So again, just take it in your own pace. Remember to drink whenever you need to. And then we're going to come back to this side. Okay, we've got one more round of shoulder bridges. This time it's going to be a little bit more challenging. So your arms are going to be by your side again. Reset the shoulders, draw them down, push the shoulder blades into the mat, feet quite close to the bottom, hip distance apart. Slightly dipping your chin. You're going to inhale, exhale as you come on up. Again, equal height, spirit level. Think of that bubble. And then from there, inhale, exhale, we're going to extend the leg nice and strong and straight. Don't worry about getting a perfectly straight leg, that will come. And we're going to lower to knee height, flex the foot, and then lift. So we lower to knee, pointed, flex at the knee height, and then lift. We've got 4, 3, so remember to breathe, 2, last 1, bring the leg back in, and then lower. And again, of course, if you need that little bit of a stretch or recovery, by all means lower yourself down onto the mat, otherwise we're going to go straight onto the other side. So again, lengthen leg, hips level, so have a quick check of the hips, put your hands on there, have a little look down, we're extending, and then we're flexing. We've got 3 more. 2, remember don't hold your breath, last 1. And then we bend, and then we lower, and we're going to lower ourselves all the way down onto the floor. This time, just bring one knee in, followed by the second, and just give yourself a quick roll, just to release. This is a lovely way to massage the back. Okay, so from here we're going to go we're going to do part of the ab series in Pilates. So there's lots of different principles of Pilates, and one of the ones that I think I resonate more with is the sort of precise movement of things. So really think about how you're moving. It's not a race. So really try to sort of get the length and the extension from each movement. So what we're going to start by doing is extending one leg along, point the toe, and then I want you to bring that other knee in towards the chest. You can support the leg at this point with one hand or both hands on your shin. Shoulders are away from your ears, slightly dipping the chin. On your exhale, you're lifting yourself up. So already I'm engaging my stomach, I'm drawing in, drawing up, drawing my tummy down. And then going to lift that lower leg off the floor, keeping it nice and extended. What I don't want to do is I don't want to let my neck drop here, so be really mindful about your neck, trying to keep yourself in a lifted position. And on your next exhale, you're going to switch the legs over, trying to keep the hips nice and still, and then switch again. So I just alternating the legs, a little bit of a squeeze in. We're going to do another 6, lengthening from the hip, reaching away. I've lost count already. I'm going to do another 3, another 2, and this will be my last one. From here, again, if you need to lower your head down, please do. You can also put a towel or something underneath the head to give you that extra support. Otherwise, we're going to extend that top leg nice and straight if we can, pointing the toe. We're bringing it in for a pulse of 1, 2, then we switch. 1, 2, and switch. 1, 2, switch. So again, drawing the abdominals in, breathing throughout, extending and reaching with the legs. We've got 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and we draw the knees in, lower your head down, and again just have a little roll through the lower back just to release that tension. Well done. Okay, we're going to reset the feet back onto the floor. This time I want you to take the hands, place them together at the back of your head with your elbows nice and wide, okay? So the elbows nice and wide, and again just have a little check about what your lower back's doing. So immediately when I placed my hands behind my head, I did a bit of an imprint on the mat. So now I'm going to sort of try and reset, try and find that neutral spine again. I'm going to bring one leg into a tabletop position. So bend at the knee, 90 degrees, elbows stay wide. I'm going to lift myself up a little bit more using my stomach, breathing in and out. And all I'm going to do is just lower the toe down and lift it up. So we're lowering and we're lifting. Again, this movement comes from the hip. The knee's not bending anymore. We're just toe tapping down. We've got 6, 5. So we're going to try not to lose that height. So if you find yourself lowering yourself down, just have a little rest and then come back up. Last 2, last 1, and we're going to reset. Place that foot down. Going to go straight onto the other leg, of course, but if you need that rest, please take it. We're just toe tapping down, resetting the knee over the hip. Elbows stay nice and wide. Should be starting to feel the build up here of tension in the deep abdominals. We've got 4, 3, 2, our last one, and then we're going to release. So we're just lowering the head. Again, you can just turn the head side to side just to release the neck. And then again, what I'm going to do now is have a quick reset of our back as well. So we're going to bring the legs together, zip the thighs together, arms into that wide T position again, and we're just going to lower with control using your stomach. Draw in, draw up as you allow the legs to gently, with control, move to one side. So it's not about how low you go with the legs on this. You don't have to touch the floor. It's about the control and just making sure that you feel that rotation and a bit of a release into the back. I'm going to do one more. So again, control the movement. And then back to this last side. Drawing in to come back. I'm going to keep my legs at tabletop. I'm going to place my hands back at the back of my head, interlacing them. Remember, so I'm not putting all of the weight of my head on there. I'm using my muscles to lift my chest. So we're drawing ourselves up. We're going to come into crisscross. You're going to rotate. One knee comes in, and then we switch. In and switch. So again, I'm extending that other leg, trying to find that rotation in the upper part of my body. Big rotation, keeping the elbows wide. Don't worry about touching. We're going for the rotation and the control in the hips. We've got 4, 3, 2, last one, and release. Well done. Again, another little rock, side to side. This time try and go for a little bit wider with the knees if you can. And if you can reach the feet, you can take a hold of the big toes. This is your happy baby pose. And you're all just sort of massaging the back in while trying to pull the feet down, bringing the knees towards your armpits. Okay, from here, we're going to come back into a tabletop with both legs. So knees are directly over the hips. You're in that lovely lifted posture. And then I'm going to bring my arms directly above my shoulders. So my shoulders are still on the mat at this point, but they're pulled away from my ears. I'm looking directly up. I'm going to take an inhale, exhale. I'm lifting my chest up. So from here, we're going to try and make opposite arm and leg. So on your next exhale, leg will extend and the opposite arm will go back. Big reach, and then bring that back in. It's quite tough, that one. So remember, if it's too much, you can just extend one limb. You don't have to go for both. And again, reach, and then bring it back. We're aiming to do 3 more on each side. Remember, take your time. Tension comes from the timing, the precision of the movement. Again, we're always trying to aim for those tabletop legs. Thinking about how your body is moving in space. I'm going to do 1 more on each side. Big reach, lengthening each limb. And then lower the head and release. Again, just another quick little roll. Okay, from here, we're going to come on up. So the way I'm going to get up, you can choose how you want to get up. I'm going to do a roll up. So I'm just going to extend my legs long, make sure that they're at the very sort of top of your mat. And then from here, I'm going to flex my feet. I'm going to use my legs, ground them into the floor, taking my arms over my head to get that nice stretch into the lower back. On your next breath, you're going to breathe in, bringing the arms forward. And we're going to roll ourselves up and come into a spine stretch. So your spine stretch, you're reaching beyond the feet, okay? So it's not about how close the chest gets to the legs. I'm not wanting you to go down. I want you to go past. So from here, we're then going to reset our posture, come into this nice lifted position. You then release the arms. I want you to slide your feet in. And I want us to find a balanced posture. So you're on your tiptoes to start. Knees are a little bit wider than your hips. Shoulders are backing down, lengthening from your tailbone to the crown of your head. You're just going to lift the toes off the floor. So try and keep this posture. Just give yourself a few seconds here just to find it. And then when you're ready, if you think you can, we're going to add lots of progressions onto this. So don't worry, I just want you to try and lift one leg up. Doesn't have to be straight to start. We're just increasing the length, just increasing those levers. And then we're going to lower that down. We're going to switch to the other side. So we're drawing in, drawing up. Nice strong core. We're breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. We're not holding our breath. And we're just alternating that leg extension. We're going to do another 3. And again, you can now work the range. So you can now extend the leg straight and then bend it. Extend if you can, and then bend it. So you have done more than 3. I told you I couldn't count. Okay, last one here. And then you're still balancing. I've came off my sit bones. I'm now slightly rolled onto the pelvis. From here, we're then going to extend one leg and then possibly 2. Again, lengthen, keep the chest lifted. Draw in, draw up. Can we release the hands? For 5, 4, take the legs a little bit wider. 3, 2, close the legs down, extend, and then again, come into that spine stretch, big reach over the feet. Well done. I'm just going to grab some water. Like I said, at any point, please feel free to do the same. Okay, coming back into that. Again, remember, listen to your bodies, how you feel. We're going to reset our posture again, drawing ourselves in, sitting up nice and tall onto our sit bones. And we're just going to, again, bring one knee in and the other knee. This time we're going to make ourselves into quite a small ball. So find your balance first, lift the feet off, squeeze the knees in. And then from there, we're going to remove the arms. So finding that balance, and then we're going to let one arm float up. This changes things quite considerably, I think. You feel a difference in your sort of point of balance, and you feel a difference in the sort of pull and the sort of awareness that you've got of your stomach. We're then going to lower that arm down. We're going to switch. Big reach. Now just don't lift the arm up. Try and reach, reach, reach. Let's do 2 more. Big reach. Drawing in, drawing up. Nearly there. And then release. We're then going to lift the legs up. So we're lifting the legs up nice and straight. Shoulders are back and down. Lifting the legs. So at the minute I've got a hold of my legs. Again, if you want to make this a bit more of a challenge, we're going to take one arm away and we're going to reach. We're then going to bring it down. So this is quite intense through the front of the legs. Definitely into the hip flexors. And release. Again, opening out wider with the legs this time. For 3, take the hands away if you can. 2, 1, release, and come straight over the legs again. Into that lovely bend. And reset. Well done. Okay, we're going to come into a seated position. Your legs are going to be extended, so don't go too wide. We're going to take our arms nice and long. So roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. Going to take an inhale. This is your soul. So what I want you to do is then rotate. Feel that rotation, drawing the navel to spine. Turn the hand so that the little finger is down, and you're going to reach past your little toe, and then you're going to turn that back arm up. So the back arm is active, palm up. You're going to lower, reach, you're going to saw for 2 and for 1. You then reset, return back to our start position. Same thing on the other side, rotation first, both butt cheeks on the floor, feet are flexed. When you've got as far around as you think you can, turn the hand, finger down, little finger down, come back towards the little toe, backhand lifts. You're going to saw for 1 and for 2. We're going to do that again on each side. Rotation, little finger, saw 1, saw 2. Reset, switch, rotate. And again, lift up, reset. Let's just draw the feet together if you can. We're just going to have a quick inner thigh stretch. Lifting up nice and tall with the chest. And again, just a little bit of pressure onto the knees, just to help open up through that inner thigh and get that lovely stretch. So what we're going to do now is a mermaid stretch, a bit of a side stretch. Again, there'll be some progressions here if you'd like to do them. But I want you to imagine that you've got your knees facing forward. So, and then you're sort of sat on one side of your bottom. You're going to put one hand in line with the hip, and you're just going to look up towards the opposite hand, big reach with that arm. And then you can slide that other hand along the mat and take the arm over to get that lovely stretch. Again, not forgetting about our tummies, drawing in, drawing up. And this, what I'd like you to think about is your shoulder here. So there's me sort of hanging off my shoulder, but I want actually to protect the shoulder and keep that nice and safe. So I'm going to create that space. So I'm not dropping into the shoulder. My elbow is directly under my shoulder, nice and safe. And I'm extending from the finger all the way to my hip. And again, just breathe in and out, drawing in your tummy. And then you're going to push yourself up. We're just going to come onto the other side. So you're just going to take that arm over. Again, being aware of the stomach, aware of that lovely stretch all the way down the side body. And then we're releasing. We're just going to swivel on our bottom so that we can reset and do the same on the other side. So extending that arm first, looking up, big reach across. I'm dropping onto my forearm because that feels like a bigger stretch for me. But that's up to you. You're going to extend, reach from the fingers. Again, not hanging off the shoulder, creating that space and that strength. Making sure that your elbow is under your shoulder. And then pushing yourself. Now we can go a little bit more into that stretch, and you can push yourself up onto your hand so you have the full extension of the arm. So I'm just going to go back to that other side. Again, this is optional. You don't have to do it if that felt good enough. By all means, please stick to that. But you can just take the arm long. Again, it's in line with the hip. And then you're going to basically kick the feet away. So one foot is in front possibly. And you're then going to have a quick check of your hand, elbow, shoulder, nice and safe. And you're going to take that arm across and over. So really, really reaching. I'm trying to push my hips up so I've got sort of a curve. Again, we're not rounding forward, keeping yourself nice and safe in the shoulder for 3, for 2, and if this was too much, you can always come in to a side plank and do it from there. And again, another option would be where you just lower that leg, and that would give you a little bit more support. We're just going to do that on the other side. So again, a bit of a swivel on your bottom, extending that arm, making sure that you're in the best position with the shoulders. Big reach, rounding, pushing the hips up, keeping yourself nice and safe, but feeling that lovely stretch. And then when you're ready, we're just going to lower that bottom leg to reset. Okay, we're going to come into a 4-point position. So we're going to come onto our hands and knees. So I want you to think about your hands, they're directly under your shoulders. Your knees are directly under your hips. So my shoulders are a little bit wider than my hips, not by much. So your hands should be a little bit wider. So just think about where your hands and your knees are. You're going to relax your feet so the feet aren't tucked, they're nice and relaxed on the floor. All we're going to do here is come into a cat and cow stretch to start. So I just want you to allow the chest to move. You're going to draw your shoulder blades back and down, lifting through the chest. And your tummy obviously drops down. It feels like a nice stretch into the lower back, mid-back. What I'm not doing is forcing the movement. I'm not really exaggerating. I think just go where you feel there's a bit of a release or a stretch. Don't force it. And then on your next exhale, inhale, exhale, we're going to tuck the tailbone under. You're going to push up into the hands, through the upper back, and release the head down. We're going to do 2 more of these. So again, just take it in your own time, elbows to the rear. And then we're going to do 1 more. And release. Okay, so we're going to try and find, again, it's all about finding that neutral spine. So I know for a fact that my neutral spine is not that, and it equally isn't that. It's somewhere in between. So a good way to do it is to put your hand at the bottom of your back. Should feel fairly flat. Imagine that you've got a tray of drinks, and you should be able to sort of maintain that tray of drinks as we start to move. So just think about your back. We're going to extend one leg long. So I'm pushing into my toe and getting a nice stretch into the back of my hamstring. What I don't want to do at this point is twist through my hips, okay? So we're trying to keep those hips level. Imagine that spirit level is at the front of the hips and possibly on the back as well. From there, you're going to inhale, exhale. We're just going to lift that leg up. I'm going to flex my foot. And all we're going to do is lower and lift, lower and lift. So we're going to start feeling a little bit of glute activation, a little bit of heat coming into the back of the body. I'm going to do another 6. If you want to make it harder, we never let the toes touch the ground. I've got 3, 2, 1. From there, I'm going to point the toe. I'm then going to take my foot across my body, and then I'm going to swoop it wide, toe tap down. So I'm taking it across and toe tap down. Again, what I'm really focusing on is keeping movement to an absolute minimum. Just my leg is moving, trying to keep the hips nice and safe, maintaining that tray of drinks on my lower back. We're going to do another 4. Drawing in, drawing up of your tummy, breathing. Another 3. And another 2. You should be feeling this. Last 1. And then you're going to bring that foot back in. And we're just going to push back into a child's pose. So allow the knees to open, toes, big toes stay together. And pull your mat towards you so you can get that lovely stretch into the shoulders. Just give yourself a second here. If you need to, you can rotate the wrists, because I know it's quite wrist heavy on this. So by all means, please rotate the wrists. There is an opportunity here, guys, as well, if you need to come onto your elbows, if you are having any issues with your shoulders or with your wrists. Okay, we're going to do that again on the other side. So come back into your 4-point position, reset your posture, shoulders are back and down, nice long neck. Think of your tailbone all the way to the crown of your head, that neutral spine. We extend the opposite leg back, pushing through the toes. Inhale, exhale, we're flexing that foot. So nice and lifted to start. Be mindful of where the weight shifts. We're going to lower and we're lifting, lower and lift. So remember, I'm not going too high, I'm not kicking my leg up, I'm squeezing through my leg, squeezing through the back of my glutes. Really trying to activate and control. Again, if you want to make it harder, you can not let the toe touch the floor, just hover. We've got another 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. We're going to point. I'm taking that foot across over the opposite leg, circling the leg back over to toe tap down, over and then toe tap. Again, think about the control, think about your lower back, drawing your abs in. Breathing all the way through the movement. We've got 4, 3, 2, your last one. And then reset, bring that knee in. And again, we're going to come into a child's pose. So just push yourself back, just give yourself a second. Just going to grab my water again. And again, this is a lovely stretch for the shoulder. You can just take that arm under. So thread the needle, lying on that shoulder, still reaching with the opposite arm, trying to pull the mat towards you. Always try and think about the tummy. Try to engage it still lightly. And then we switch. So from here, we're going to come into a plank. So your options are your full plank, which is an extended arm, fully extended. And then you're in that lovely extension, weight slightly forward, pushing into the toes, pushing into the upper back, navel and spine switched on. Or you can lower yourself down if you need to, if that's too much. Or you can come onto your elbows and come into this plank. Or again, you can lower onto your knees. So lots of different varieties of our plank. We're going to aim to hold it for 30 seconds and then we're going to add a few variations in, but there will be some 30 seconds holds, 3 I think. So it's not too bad. It's only 1 minute 30, but they're in sort of blocks. So when you're ready, get yourself into that strong position, fingers face forward, grip with your fingers, grip with every part of the body, breathe. So we're just going to hold this. So be mindful about your butt. We're not here. It's not a downward dog or partial downward dog, and neither are we dropping through the bottom. So really focus on technique. Again, lengthening from the crown of the head to the tailbone. We've got 10 seconds. Last 3, last 2. Then we can come into a downward dog. So you're going to open out the feet, hip distance apart. Push into your hands to lift that tailbone nice and high. Remember, you can bend the knees, keep a softness in the knees. Let's just pedal the feet out. From this position, we're going to bring one of our knees in between the hands. So you're going to move your weight forward, knee comes in between the hands. Then you're going to kick the leg up nice and high. We're going to do that 4 more times. In and kick. Remember your breath. Remember that engaging the abdominals. 3, 2, and your last one. We're going to lower that leg down. You're going to release the bottom leg. And again, just keep yourself nice and lifted to start. You can roll onto that glute and then you're going to lower yourself down. Bit of a stretch into the bottom here. You're then going to roll yourself back onto the leg, hands come out under the shoulders. You're going to tuck under with the bottom leg. And then from there, you're going to push yourself up. So we're back to where we started. You're then going to place that foot back. We're back into our plank, another 30 seconds hold. Remember engaging the tummy, drawing in, breathing. Remember why you're doing this, to get longer, leaner muscles, to develop that control over your body, that awareness. Nearly there. Last 10. And get ready to push the bottom up, come back into that plank. Just pedal the feet out. Okay, this time we're onto the other leg. So you're lifting that leg nice and high. Opposite leg, remember. Try not to rotate too much through the hip. That's a rotation there. So we're trying to keep ourselves nice and stacked. Pushing into the hands, bringing the knee through, and then pushing back. So that tiny pause is really important. So try not to rush it too much. A little pause, then a kick back. You've got 3 more. A little pause, push it back. A little pause. We've got 1 more. Come on, guys. Stay with it. Stay with it. Last one. Bring it in and then lower. Ooh, release. So extending into that back leg, rolling onto the hip if you need to, lowering yourself down, enjoying this lovely stretch. And again, as before, rolling yourself back, hands come out. We're going to tuck under with the toe, lifting ourselves, and we're kicking back. This time we're not going to go straight into a plank, we're coming back into our downward dog. Again, just pedal out. From here, once you get that lovely stretch into the back of the legs, I want you to bend, so we're coming into a hover. So we're in about 1.5 inches, 2 inches possibly, with the knees. They're just hovering over the mat. Again, think about your posture, think about where we should be feeling this, and think about drawing your tummy in to help with the movement and breathing. We've got 10 seconds. We can do it. You've got 5, 4, 3, 2, and push back into that downward dog. Well done. From here, come onto your knees. Give yourself a quick child's pose. To take the pressure off your shoulders, take the arms back and just release the head. I'm going to grab some more water. I'm in my loft, I'm in our bedroom. It's really warm. Okay. Just last little bit, a couple of minutes left. We're going to come in to a very low squat. So if you're quite tall like me, I'm going to come off my mat for this. I'm going to take my feet wider than my hips, quite a bit wider, and I'm going to lower myself down. It takes a little bit of an adjustment, so don't worry about moving too much. Just feel what feels right for you, get it right. You're going to push the hands together, which is going to open out the knees. And we're just going to sit here for about 15 seconds before we add on a little bit more difficulty. Again, this is really good for opening up through your hips, in your thighs. So it's all about mobilizing. The next thing we're going to do from here, guys, is I want you to try and lift up the heels. So you're going to come onto the heels as high as you can onto the ball of the foot at the front. And again, maintaining the depth of the squat. If this works and you feel all right, we can then add the arms in. So the arms are coming up towards the ears. Reaching, extending. We've got 10 seconds. We're so close. Remember, join in, join up. You've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put the hands down and carefully with control, push your bottom back. Scoot your feet in to about hip distance. Bend your knees, take a hold of your elbows. And this should be a gorgeous stretch, a welcome stretch. So knees are bent, breathing nice and deeply. You're going to have a hold of your elbows, you can sway side to side. And it should feel when you take a hold of your elbows that more of you comes over the legs. Okay, you're going to release. And very carefully drawing the tummy in, we're going to come into a standing posture. Okay, from that standing posture, we're going to finish with one more roll down. So just take the shoulders back and down, take your chin towards your chest, and again, allow the body with control, bending the knees. Don't worry about the arms moving forward, just let them go. If you can find the floor, great, but please keep the knees nice and soft. And again, pushing into the feet, that 3-point of balance, your big toe, your little toe, your heel, as we come back up. Take your shoulders back and down, lift through the chest. And then just to finish, I want you to just take the ear to one shoulder. Again, remind yourself about your posture, keep the collar nice and wide. Try not to let the shoulder hitch up. And then you're going to go to the other side. And then we're going to do that one more time. This time, of course, you can add the hand, gently giving yourself a little bit of more of a pull down with that ear. And then one more. We're then going to take our hands to the small of our back, shoulders back and down. Draw your elbows in, push your hips up, lift the chest. Then release, arms come up, big reach as high as you can. Inhale, exhale, you're going to float the arms down, back up. We're going to do that 2 more times. Just let the arms go, bend into the knees. Last one. And then lower the arms by your sides. And you are done. I hope everybody enjoyed that. And I look forward to giving you a couple more. All right, thanks very much. Bye.